Welcome in to another episode of Betting the Pitch. This is a European soccer episode. I'm your host, real_G Warner. I guess there's a lot of soccer competitions going on, but today we're going to go through the English Premier League, La Liga in Spain, Serie A in Italy, the Bundesliga in Germany, and Liga in France. There are some different schedules this weekend, as it's like a half slate for England. In Italy, they're playing the Supercoppa in Saudi Arabia. So some limited stuff there, but probably still got an hour of podcasting in on a Friday night. What better is there things are there to do? And then I'm going to do an entire college basketball deep dive, probably and not sleep as I normally don't. But if you're not following me yet on Twitter, do it, _G Warner. Same on Patreon. If you're not a member there or a patron yet, go check it out. Best spot to get all my plays, leans, write-ups, everything all in one spot. And if you download an application, you can get notifications on your phone every time I lock something in, so you get the same price as I do. So we'll start in England. All lines courtesy of Bet Online, and there is a promo code in the podcast description for 50% sign-up bonus if you go follow my link there. So go do that if you're not a member of Bet Online just yet. But we'll start in England with Arsenal hosting Crystal Palace. Currently, Arsenal a 1.5 goal favorite with all the juice on the home team. Over-unders 2 3/4, juice heavily to under. And I wonder if this is a response to Crystal Palace playing in midweek in the FA Cup. Arsenal, I think, are already out of that competition, so they should be better rested, and they're at home for an early start, the first match of the Saturday, I guess, slate in general. I'm not sure anything else is kicking off beforehand, but Crystal Palace, good defensive team. And might as well tell you, I'm going to do a best bet from each of the leagues and then come up with an ultimate best bet end of show. And I'll put that on Instagram at the real_G Warner and probably get it to YouTube as well. Check out those platforms, as there is plenty going on from all my other college basketball and NFL podcasts, especially in a busy time of year for everything. But getting back to England. So I think Crystal Palace is the side I want here. I really don't believe in Arsenal breaking down any sort of low block, which they're almost guaranteed to get, especially after a potentially tiring midweek FA Cup match. So that I'm certainly interested in Crystal Palace here. Do I want the 1.5? I think I like the under 2 3/4 more because it's 2-0 loss. I don't really have a ton of faith in the Crystal Palace offense. So a 2-0 loss is a winner, but it would lose on the side. And even if Crystal Palace do get a goal here with under 2 3/4, available at a very juiced price right now, but it's there, and it would be a half a goal loss if they lose 2-1, which would not be great because they would cover the spread in that situation. But I just don't think Arsenal have a ton of confidence right now. I don't think they have a ton of ability to break down the low block. I think the pressure is on, and I'm not sure they've handled it very well so far this season. Brentford then hosts Nottingham Forest. Currently, Brentford a half a goal favorite with all the juice. Over-under is 2.5, juiced all the way to over. So potentially see some movement towards Nottingham Forest to getting maybe 3/4 of a goal. And as I say that, I guess there's a new flickering technology advancement at Bet Online. So it's now a little bit more juice to the over, but not all of it at this point. So maybe there's some money coming in on Nottingham Forest. It's a little bit late in England for that, but we'll see what happens, of course. And it's a pretty late start. It's like a noontime game here in the United States, pretty much. So that's very nice of them. Thank you, England, for but then again, they have that early match 6 hours before that or 5 hours before that. So not great. Anyway, Nottingham Forest played a cup match midweek. It went extra time. It was a replay from when they came from behind 2-0, I think, to a third tier side in the English pecking order. Not great for them. I think they have big problems. And as arrested Brentford, who played earlier and were eliminated from the competition on their own replay, I guess there's not a lot going well for either of these two teams right now. Nottingham Forest, to me, are going to play a very conservative style. That's what Nuno Espirito Santo has always done, and I think he's shown it already at Nottingham Forest, especially on the road. He did do it at Newcastle, though, which is a little bit different of a scenario because they are such a great home team. Brentford have been really struggling. They have a game in hand, but are very close to the relegation spots. Nottingham Forest are kind of in the same boat. To me, that pushes me towards backing under, especially because I don't really believe in either attack. I am concerned about both of the defenses, though. I might as well point that out. Moving to Sunday, we have Sheffield United hosting West Ham. Currently, Sheffield United a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice, or almost all of it, on West Ham on the road. Over under is 2 1/4, juice very heavily to over. I don't know how that's the case. I mean, maybe Jared Bowen returns for this matchup, but West Ham were completely toothless in their trip to Bristol City in the FA Cup, lost midweek. Had a really awful back pass from Mavropanos, who at least has done that twice this season, and maybe that's why Mikel Arteta ended up moving on from him and not having him in his Arsenal plans. But West Ham, they've had a rough kind of run in the cup competitions. I think the fans are kind of out for David Moyes, their manager's head, which is not deserved because he's done great things for the club. But certainly the cup competitions have not gone well this year. Then again, he did win the Europa League group. Sheffield United under Chris Wilder, I mean, they've been locked tight at the back. I think they're going to make it really hard on a West Ham team that lost Mohamed Kudus to Ghana and AFCON. They've lost. I mean, we'll see how healthy Jared Bowen is. Wasn't even in the squad for the FA Cup. Maybe he starts, but I feel like I'm probably going to look to be against him, especially West Ham is a road favorite here. So give me the Blade Sunday morning, getting a quarter of a goal right now. Maybe we get a half a goal before this kicks off, but I'm pretty confident that we won't see it fall to pick 'em unless there's huge West Ham lineup changes. But I mean, we saw West Ham on the road at Bristol City starting fullbacks at wing, both wings. So that also makes me lean to under 2.25. We might get 2.5 before this kicks off. Next match, we'll go to Bournemouth hosting Liverpool. Bournemouth at home, the cherry, the 3/4 goal underdog with juice about split both ways. Over unders 3.25. Juice heavily to under. Liverpool are not the same offense without Mohamed Salah. Maybe he returns early after he picked up an injury for Egypt, but they have a very deep forward line. But all of a sudden, they're three in the front have to cover for Mohamed Salah, who's basically playing every minute of every match. So that to me is an issue. It makes me want to back Bournemouth, who kind of fell off a little bit after having a really great run to the end of 2023. I thought they deserved so much better against Tottenham, but those things happen. And I really like the setup for Bournemouth defensively, trying to counterattack Liverpool, going on the road, trying to outscore everyone. It does make me a little bit concerned about under, but 3.25 is bigger than I made it, I bet. Or at least it's on the right side of 3 if you like under. So I like Bournemouth, and I like that under 3.25 there as well. Moving to Monday, last match of the Premier League. I'll give you a best bet, then I'll move on to Spain. We have Brighton a 1-goal favorite to Wolves with all the juice on Wolves right now. Over unders 2.75, juice heavily all the way to over. So we might see a 3 before this kicks off. I feel like this is too big of a price for Wolves. They've been playing great. Did have to play extra time in that FA Cup replay against Brentford. It was at home. Now they go to the South Coast from the Midlands. Not great of a travel setup, and Brighton certainly are going to be a lot better rested. I think they've already. I don't think they played midweek, so that's a concern for me. But I like that this is a Monday match. Gives Wolves as much time as they possibly could, since it's the last match of this match day, to get as ready as possible. I think if this hits 3, I'm more interested in under. Brighton have not been as dominant of an offense for a while now, and I think that also makes me like Wolves that +1 even more. For my best bet in the English Premier League for this episode, I'm going to go with. I can't look away from that West Ham United performance at Bristol City. Wish I had played the Bristol City side, but the under, I guess, paid out well enough for me. I think I'm kind of split between the under and Sheffield United. I think I will probably play both, as it's certainly not a hedge by any means. They both are pretty correlated, but I do like the idea of potentially trying to profit 2 units from this single encounter. So I'll go Sheffield United under 2.25 as my best bet from England. So now I'll move to Spain, where we had a match on Friday. It was only one match on all of Friday across the many different leagues, besides the Super Copa in Saudi Arabia. But I just didn't have it in me to do an entire podcast on only one match that was live. So we're doing it now. Thank you all for your considerations, and I appreciate your 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Rayo Vallecano, they're hosting Las Palmas in the early matchup on Saturday morning here in the United States. Rayo, a half-a-goal favorite, which is a split. Over under is 2, which is all the way to over. And I don't know where La Liga is starting to get some bigger totals. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Still one of the lowest scoring leagues out there of the top 5 or 5 of the top 6 that I cover. I'm very interested in under 2.25 if it gets up there. I think 2 is fine as well. And I like Las Palmas getting a half of a goal. They, to me, I mean, they've been a godsend. They've kept the boat afloat, to say the least. And I think I've made an incredible profit on Las Palmas so far. Love them as an underdog. Don't really trust Rayo to score goals. Yes, at home they'll be better at Vallecas, but they might not have a lot of the ball. And it kind of is the setup that Rayo wants to counterattack you. But Las Palmas have been perfect at not giving the ball away. And really their only big losses were I think they've only conceded 2 goals this season were to Barcelona and to Real Madrid. And they were both kind of rough late concessions. Moving next to Villarreal hosting Mallorca. Mallorca coming off a very momentum bringing cup win, though it did zap them 120 minutes and they won at the death on the road at Tenerife, I think in the Canary Islands, Las Islas Canarias. Villarreal currently a quarter goal favorite with a little bit more juice. Over unders 2.25, juice almost all the way to over. Villarreal are a team I want to be against as much as possible. Mallorca only getting a quarter says how much, I guess, the market does not believe in Villarreal, especially Mallorca playing a decent side. They did rotate a fair amount, but they probably won't be playing those same players that went 120 minutes, to say the least. So that'll be interesting. I think Mallorca are going to go on the road and try to defend, give Villarreal the ball and try to see what they do with it. That's a little bit dangerous because Villarreal their best side is their offensive side. I guess their best assets are offensive. But their defense is also offensive at this point. And the new manager, third manager of the season, who wants to play defensively, doesn't have the bodies for that, and it hasn't worked. So I like Mallorca to play against that, and I like the under 2.25 as well. Move next to Valencia hosting Athletic Club. Currently Valencia a quarter goal underdog at home, a little bit more juice on Athletic Club on the road. Over unders 2.25, juice a little bit to under. Athletic Club have had a great year so far. Got a big win in El Derby Vasco over Real Sociedad. That was pretty much a B team for them, unfortunately, as they're struck by injury and suspension and AFCON plus the Asian Cup. I think only player to be missing is Takefusa Kubo, Japanese. Valencia has a quarter goal underdog at home, though. It feels like there's some value there. So I like that quarter of a goal. I also like under 2.25. I just think Athletic Club are still a counterattacking side. They are missing Iñaki Williams to Ghana for the AFCON, so that's not great for them because that's a big, important goal scorer, especially as a road favorite. So give me Valencia right there, and I like under as well. Moving next to the nightcap on Saturday, Celta de Vigo hosts Real Sociedad, who I've already kind of mentioned. I've been really struggling, missing a lot of bodies. Celta de Vigo currently a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice. I like that side. Worried that it might fall to pick them, so it's probably something I need to think about sooner rather than later. Over under here is 2, and it's a little juice to over. I'd like to see if it gets some over love because I don't really see where that's going to end up scoring any goals. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot to expect from Real Sociedad, who did win a Champions League group, still have a ton of luster on their coin, but they're not the same team right now. Moving to Sunday, Osasuna hosts Getafe. Currently, Osasuna a quarter goal favorite at home with all the juice. Over under is 2, juiced all the way to the under almost. Getafe, they're missing some players due to suspension. They had a really rough home cup match, Copa del Rey, against Sevilla, a loss this week. I don't really know what to take from them. I know they're going to be very physical. They'd scored a lot of goals toward the end of 2023, but I don't believe that's who they are. And they really struggled to defend Sevilla. I expect there to be a better defensive type of strategy here. And I don't really want to play them on the road at El Sadar, a really tough place to play. So give me Osasuna, and that under 2 is my lean there. We'll move to the next window, and that's Real Madrid hosting Almeria. Can't say I'm going to have a lot to say about this one or want to play here. Real Madrid, a 2.25 goal favorite here, a little bit more juice. Over under is 3.5, juice all the way to over. They had Atleti on the road in Copa del Rey, coming off a Saudi Arabia Supercopa victory over Barcelona and El Clasico and Saudi. Now they play the bottom club that has not won a match yet, though Almeria's defense has certainly improved. Got to put something on my list if so. I mean, I guess I don't, but I'm not really as interested in under in the 2.25 underdog on Almeria. But I guess if I had to put something on there, I'd like under 3.5 because I'm just forever not really believing in the Real Madrid offense. With that said, they still perform and really make me look kind of silly sometimes. So a very slight lean to Almeria under 3.5 because it's getting odds and it's over 3. Real Betis then hosts Barcelona with their own problems all over this matchup. Real Betis a half a goal underdog at home. All the juice in Barcelona on the road. Over unders 2.75. Choose very heavily / all the way to over. We might see a 3 here. I'm waiting to see that. Real Betis have been an under gift for a lot of the season, but I also like the total here, or excuse me, the side here, because I just want to be against Barcelona. I don't trust them. We've seen Real Betis at home with Real Madrid play a really tight game and escape with a draw. Not a results-based handicapper, as I think most of you would understand. But I'm just not really a believer in Barcelona whatsoever. I don't think they create very well. I think Betis are okay with playing the underdog card here and trying to really make it hard on Barcelona. And they do have some finishers. They haven't finished much, but they should have a lot more open territory than most of the teams in La Liga that play to try to restrict them. Betis need a kick in the right direction, so we'll see if that happens. But I'm just looking to be against Barcelona in that offense pretty much. Girona then hosts Sevilla in the nightcap on Sunday before I get one Monday match. Girona, a 3/4 goal favorite with a little bit more juice over unders, 2 3/4 juice, almost all the way to over. I mean, what a statement in where these clubs used to be. Sevilla, the European champion, Europa League champion from last season, Champions League side. Now, I mean, it's incredible what Girona has done this year. I'm not really sure I want anything here besides just wanting to bet unders with Sevilla. It did not work in the Cup midweek, but I'm still not off that scent. Quique Sanchez Flores, their third or fourth manager of the season. He's a defensive guy, and I'll be waiting to see if we get a 3 on this one. Last but not least, on Monday, we have Granada hosting Atletico Madrid. Granada currently a 3/4 goal underdog at home with more juice on Atleti on the road. Over under is 2 3/4, juice all the way to under. And that's the way I lean. Atleti have not been anywhere near as good. I think really defensive problems has been their issue away from home, away from the Wanda Metropolitano. But Granada, they've been under a new manager. They've added some pieces, spent some money to try to retain their La Liga status after kind of feeling like a yo-yo club that go up and down and up and down, get relegated, promoted, et cetera, et cetera. I think my interest here is to Granada. I'd love to see them hit a +1. Guess the juice is sort of trending there. I'm not sure we'll see it. And I'd like under 2 3/4 because there's some safety on this match landing 3. And I just really don't. I mean, it's also tough because Atleti have just played 2 matches in a row against Real Madrid, including a Copa del Rey match at home. It's very possible that this is one of those matches where they rotate, and they've been really struggling on the road. They'll be motivated to perform better. I just don't know that I really believe in it to happen. So for my best bet here, I'm going to go with Real Betis getting a half of a goal from Barcelona. I really like that setup, and we'll see if that can pay some dividends in the Benito Villamarin Estadio Benito Villamarin, because for some reason in Spanish you say the stadium first. Now I'll move to Italy in Serie A, and we'll start with a Saturday early match, or actually not early, noon start. It looks like Roma a 1-goal favorite right now with all the juice to Verona. Over under is 2 1/4, juice all the way to over. I'm not a believer in the Roma offense, but Verona have had such troubles. I mean, I think the only thing I could potentially think of here is to that under 2 1/4 right now. It's very juiced to over, so we might even get 2.5. That is a lot of me playing and risking on a Verona defense, which I have not been impressed by. But Roma have really struggled for a while now, and their totals have been really low. This feels like a big one, especially if I don't think we've seen 2.5 in a while. They were 2 as a road favorite in their own stadium, but to a road crowd when they played Lazio. I feel like it's another low scoring match, and Verona will certainly try to play. They'll be in cahoots for a low scoring match because they know they can't win a shootout. Udinese then hosts Milan. Currently, Udinese a half a goal underdog at home with more juice on Milan. Over under is 2 1/4, juice all the way to over. Another match that I don't expect to see a lot of goals. Udinese have been better since they switched managers, but I'm not sure it's something I believe in. I want to see this hit 2.5 before I play it, but we don't have that yet. So I'll put under 2 1/4 on my list, and that actually does it for Saturday. We'll move to Sunday. Frosinone and their struggles of late host Cagliari, another promoted side. Currently, Frosinone a 1/4 goal favorite at home. All the juice on Cagliari on the road. Over under is 2.5. Juice a little bit to under. I lean to Cagliari and under here. I feel like Frosinone's offense has been very quiet. Their defense has been far worse, problematic. And if you're looking at what those things are, and you want to score goals on offense and not concede them, they've definitely had troubles with conceding. So maybe I like Cagliari getting a 1/4 of a goal more here. But Frosinone, I mean, at home, this is a big step for them to try to get a big result against a team that they see eye to eye to, because they both came up together from the Serie B last season. I just don't see it from Frosinone lately, and they came up as a really good defensive side and have not had that sort of success of late. Empoli then hosts Monza, currently a pick'em with more juice on Monza right now. Over under is 2.5, juice all the way to under. Empoli unders have been pretty good. Monza are an offensive team, but they haven't really scored as much this year. They're going to not try. I mean, I expect Empoli to probably lose the possession battle here despite being at home. But I feel like that's good because I don't really trust the Monza defense offense away. I don't really trust it anywhere. And they are a road favorite, even if it's a slight one at Pick'em -116 to a -104 on Empoli at Bet Online right now. But I'll lean to that under 2.5, and I like the 2.5 right now. You win on a 1-1 draw here, so I'll put Empoli under 2.5 on my list. We'll next move to Salernitana hosting Genoa. Currently, Salernitana a quarter goal underdog at home. More juice on Genoa on the road. Over under is 2, juiced a little bit more to over. Genoa, they've done some business. They've sold Dragoshin. They're really important to me, center back, but still seem like they're the same club that have great attackers that they've held on to, as far as I know. Salernitana have not been great, but it does feel weird to see Salernitana underdogged to a team that is newly promoted, though Genoa have certainly been better this year. So give me, I'll put Salernitana getting a quarter of a goal on my list and potentially a lean to the under 2 as well. Lecce then hosts Juventus in the last match on Sunday, because I guess we have Copa Italia, Super Copa, whatever we're calling it, in Saudi. Lecce, a 3/4 goal underdog at home with all the juice on Juve on the road. Over unders 2.25 with all the juice to under. Lecce are going to do their best to try to stay in this game as long as they can. I don't really think I want a +1 because I expect Juve to take a lead, and then who knows what's going to happen with Lecce trying to get an equalizer to draw. Now, a Lecce goal is a problem for under, to say the least, because I expect Juve are going to go for a win in this match, but Juve love to take leads and then kill games. So under 2.5, or excuse me, under 2.25 is my biggest interest there. And for my best bet in Italy before we move to the Bundesliga, and then of course there will be an ultimate best bet end of show, so stick around for that because I know that's what you've all come in for. I'm gonna go with man, I'm tempted by that early start, but I'm a little afraid of backing a newly promoted side on the road, a newly promoted side only getting a quarter of a goal, and it might end up closing pick'em for a lot of you by the time you listen to this. So I'll go with that Lecce under 2.25 as my best bet for Serie A on this January 20th weekend. Now I'll move to the Bundesliga. We got a big slate of matches coming up, and a lot of big changes in managers and things of that nature. But we'll start with Cologne hosting Borussia Dortmund. Currently, Cologne a 3/4 goal underdog at home. Over under is 3, just a little bit to over. Borussia Dortmund are a team that I want to be against. I don't know how many times I need to say that, but that's where we're at. And they're going to be facing a very difficult crowd. Maybe not so difficult, but a big crowd. The problem is that's what I think I've heard a lot of people say, or at least I've heard it been said, that Cologne is a big crowd, but it's not tough to play there. It makes sense. They're struggling, had to replace their iconic manager. I'm waiting to see if this one hits Cologne getting a full goal of insurance at home. I still don't like them to score goals, though. So I think under 3 is my biggest interest now based on current numbers, which is what we're doing on this podcast, Betting the Pitch, with your host, _G Warner. Heidenheim, a pick'em to Wolfsburg. They're a newly promoted side that just played on the road at Cologne last weekend. Currently, a pick'em with more juice on Wolfsburg, as I might have already said, almost all the way. Over under is 2.25, 2.5 juice to over. Heidenheim, they're a pretty open side, which worries me for totals, but they were very in the game at Cologne on the road last weekend. This is a very different situation, but they are at home, and I expect them to be probably more aggressive, which probably plays into Wolfsburg and probably makes them a reasonable, more juiced, I guess, pick 'em at this point. My bigger interest here is just playing, I think, against the Wolfsburg offense that we haven't seen do a lot in a while, and they're away from home, which is, I think, generally a place where offenses go to underperform. So I'll put Heidenheim under 2.5 on my list, though I gotta say I'm a little worried about their open style. They do seem to score most of their goals from set pieces, though, and that's hard to do, especially against the tall German teams. Though it seems like in the Bundesliga, there's been a lot of goals this year that just are inexplicable. Sportclub Freiburg then hosts TSG Hoffenheim in that same window, big window, Saturday, 3:30 p.m., I believe, in Alemania or in Germany. Freiburg currently a quarter goal favorite at home with all the juice. Over unders 2.75, juice heavily to over. Now, Hoffenheim lost the starting center back to Union in the transfer window, but it seemed like something they wanted to have happen. They had too many. And Freiburg have not really been great for a while. They've been underperforming, but they also have been outperforming for years and years and years. I think I trust the Freiburg defense more than I trust the offense, though that's, I think, been a lot better in the Bundesliga than it was in the Europa League. But they got through, so no big deal for that. I think Hoffenheim have some defensive issues. I think that's probably a reason for me to stay away from that quarter of a goal that they're getting right now, though it looks like the juice might push it to half of a goal before it kicks off. Still, Freiburg most likely to win at home. I'll be waiting to see this one hit a 3 because I'd love that push opportunity, but might get there by the time this kicks off at 9:30 Eastern time on Saturday. SV Darmstadt, then they host Eintracht Frankfurt in a, I guess, a derby, local derby. They're rivals, maybe not in big name, hate each other's, but they are close, I guess. Darmstadt currently a half a goal underdog at home with all the juice. Over there's 2.5, juice a little bit to under. Now, Frankfurt looked great at Leipzig, took an early lead last weekend. We'll see if they can go on the road for 2 back-to-back matches. That's hard to do. But I think they did that because of the National Football League, American football, coming in and borrowing their stadium, because usually everyone alternates home and road every week. But I guess with money talks or something like that. Darmstadt have not been great, really offensively. They've scored some goals that have been seemingly always fortunate and unexpected. Their defense is probably going to be the biggest key to this one. And for that reason, I'll go with an under 2.5 lean from that matchup. Moving next to Bochum hosting Stuttgart. Bochum, a great home crowd, but they've got a really tough match coming in with Stuttgart. Currently, Bochum a half a goal underdog at home with almost all the juice. Over unders 2 3/4, juice all the way to over. And that's probably based on Stuttgart's offense being so prolific this year. They've had some injuries with Girassi, their striker, who's so dominant and dangerous. I think if he's out again, I'm more interested in Bochum at home getting that half of a goal. So they're a great home team. But in general, I think under, especially if we get a 3, is something I'm most looking at. And then Leipzig hosts Leverkusen in the Topspiel, the big Saturday night matchup. Leipzig currently a pick'em with all the juice, surprisingly to me. Over under is 3, just a little bit to under. And I feel like this is a big backing of Leipzig, and I don't really know why. They have not been the dominant home team that they were in the past few seasons. They've really struggled in a lot of different directions. So I'm not really a believer, I'll put it that way. So Leverkusen does feel like an easy side, or like the best club and start to 20 or best 2023 I guess season, part of the 2023 season in the Hinterhunde in Germany and really across Europe. But I'll wait to see if they climb to potentially a quarter goal underdog. I doubt that'll occur, but I think it'd be really hard for me to resist if that occurs. And I guess I lean to under 3 because I don't really believe in the Leipzig offense at this point. Moving to Sunday, Bayern Munchen hosts Werder Bremen. Currently, Bayern Munchen a 2 3/4 goal favorite. Wearing the shirt because I just couldn't resist a long sleeve in a team shop, because try buying soccer stuff online from Europe. LOL with how much they cost to ship it here. I've learned the hard way. Bayern a 2 3/4 goal favorite at home, a little bit more juice, and over under is 4, juice all the way to over. I guess I like under, but it's really hard to have anything to do with Bayern unders at this point in my life. I've learned the hard way enough. Borussia Mönchengladbach then close out the window with Augsburg at home. Gladbach a half a goal favorite at home. Juice about split. Over under is 3. Juice pretty heavily to over. Gladbach have been a lot better at home. Augsburg are going to try to press you. It's what they seem to always do in that club, and it works fairly well at times. I think the push on 3 is important. I like that. And I'll give that as my interest in this one, as I don't really want to play Augsburg on the road, considering how good Gladbach have been. But I don't really believe in Gladbach and the performances that they've had. I don't think have deserved their great home record. It might just be that they've been so bad away from home. In terms of best bet on this episode, I'm going to go with that Bochum. I mean, I'd love to have that 3. We don't have it yet, so that's hard, unfortunately. I'll go with the Hoffenheim under 2 3/4. Actually, that'll be my best bet, because I'm still a believer in Freiburg's defense, though it's been certainly up and down this year, and really just not a believer in their offense, I guess is the way to say it. And we'll probably get a 3 by the time it kicks off. I would love to have that now, but I stick to the rules. And also, if you're not a member yet of SportsBetting.ag, great spot to be. They're offering a 100% match bonus. It's basically the same site as BetOnline. I think their sister sites are related. I'm not sure who owns it or what. Oh, and I forgot, this is actually not Liga. We got the Coupe de France to go over, which is going to be very interesting. So we'll see what we come up with. We'll start on Saturday with Bordeaux hosting Nice. Bordeaux, a Ligue 2 side who I think everyone wants in Ligue 1, but they've had big bankruptcy and other issues going back years. Nice a half a goal favorite on the road over just 2.25. My interest there is under 2.25, just because Nice have not permitted anyone to score pretty much this entire season. We'll see with the Girondins de Bordeaux if they are able to find the net, but I would think they haven't done great in Ligue 2 and don't look like they're likely to move up. Le Puy and Dunkirk don't have a side, so I'll skip that one. Trelissac host Trelissach, then host Brest. Brest a 1.75 goal favorite. Never thought I'd see the day. I'll move on. Valencians, they're hosting FC Paris, different than PSG, so don't get fooled by that one. Rodez Aveyron then host Monaco. I'm looking for some more Liga on action. Nantes then host Laval, 1 goal favorite. Orleans then host PSG. PSG a 2.5 goal favorite on the road. Big price, but not as big as it potentially could have been. Rouen then hosts Toulouse. Currently Rouen a 3/4 goal underdog at home. Over under is 2.5. Sochaux then hosts Reims. I'm basically just doing French pronunciation, which is not a language I speak. But Sochaux 1 goal underdog at home to Reims. Pretty big price, but Reims deserved it. Here we go. Clermont Foot. They host Wrestling Club de Strasbourg. Strasbourg Alsace. I don't know how to pronounce that last word, but I'm interested here because Strasbourg are currently an underdog and they shouldn't be. It's very juiced at the moment, so that's probably why. Don't want to have a pick 'em here, I guess. Over under at 2.25. I lean to under here. Clermont Foot are not a good team. They don't score goals unless they're from the penalty spot or their other team has a red card. Certainly Strasbourg have done that in the past, but I'm a believer in Strasbourg. As of recently, they've turned it around. Really slow start to the season, despite having big investment. They played very well lately. Racing CFF then host Lille. Lille 2 goal favorite on the road. That's a lot. Châteauroux, they host Le Havre. Le Havre, pretty big favorite, 3/4 a goal on the road, but looks like that's potentially coming down. And last but not least, another big Liga matchup is Rennes hosting Marseille. Rennes look like they're probably about a 1/4 goal favorite. Very juiced pick 'em right now, bet online for some reason. I'm interested in Marseille because I just don't think Rennes have been playing very well. It's hard because Marseille are very fickle and tough to really predict. And I don't know. I mean, Rennes, I haven't really trusted to score goals either. So 2.5 looks interesting to me. Coupe de France should be pretty important to these clubs, especially when it takes over a weekend. And they play less matches this year because they dropped 2 teams out because they relegated 4 and only brought up 2 last season. So I'll be looking to see if Marseille come back to being or if they to see what this number looks like, what the lineups look like, because that's I think the way I'd want to go. But my best bet from Liga en France, I'll go with Strasbourg getting a 1/4 goal because I think they have been playing well, and you can't say that same sort of thing about Clermont Foot, who they're visiting. So that's it for this episode. It's time for the ultimate best bet. If you're not a member of my Patreon, check it out, patreon.com/real_G Warner. Best spot to get all my plays, write-ups, leans, everything across all sports. Already have NFL plays. You would, I guess, have college basketball leans are out there for tonight. It's late, about midnight here in Central Time in Dallas, beautiful Dallas, Texas. But you got a list of at least where I'm planning to go and probably get updates throughout the day, night, morning, everything you got. And if you download the app, you can get a notification every time I lock something in. So you get exactly the same price I do. I would check it out because it's very affordable. Everyone has said. Thank you to the new, thank you to Jason, the newest patron member. Appreciate that. Also, if you're a member, I guess if you're not a member, you wouldn't be. But if you have an account at YouTube, please subscribe, or Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leave a 5-star review on Betting the Pitch. It's huge for search rankings and great for the other podcasts that we're doing. NFL all season. Andrew Schnicker, _SCHNITKER, has been super hot. Won his last 6 best bets. He's been rolling. We have a podcast up every Tuesday if schedules permit, and have been running through the playoffs, and it's been a really good run. I think 10-2, both of us in our last 12 podcasts, or last 6 podcasts, because we do 1 pick each. So that's been huge. Also, the Need for Seeds with Big East Ben recorded today. Episode is already out, so go check that out. But it is time for the ultimate best bet portion of the show. So let's get into it. Hey, this is the real_G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, and on Twitter, of course. This is the ultimate best bet portion of the European soccer show. For the English Premier League, I like Sheffield United under 2.25 goals. From La Liga in Spain, I like Real Betis getting a half from Barcelona. In Serie A, I like Lecce under 2.25 goals. In the Bundesliga in Germany, I like TSG Hoffenheim under 2.75. And in League or the Coupe de France, I like Strasbourg getting a quarter of a goal on the road at Clermont Foot. But for the ultimate best bet on this show, I got to pick one that I like the most, and that is Sheffield United under 2.25 goals. It's really a play against West Ham United at this point. They are really banged up, have lost a lot of players to injury, plus also another competition going on, the AFCON. Mohamed Kudus is such a huge loss for them, and their offense has been really weak. It's not one that I really trust in, and they had a tough loss this midweek in the FA Cup. So grab Sheffield United under 2.25, and I also like the side there as well. So that'll do it for this episode of Betting the Pitch. Thank you all for watching, tuning in, especially the late 8 hours, and those of you that have been with me the whole time. I appreciate it. We'll be doing hopefully an earlier episode coming up and not on a Friday night because I'd like to go find my wife or something. But it's been fun. It's been real. And I will talk to you all very, very soon.